So in the middle, I'm your host, Justin Staten. I got my sidekick, Alice, here with me today. And we are 7 days out, guys, from the 2024 election. And I am going to sound like a broken record today. It's a big one. What are we calling it, Alice? Monumental election?
Monumental, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely monumental election. So make sure, guys, that you take your civic duty responsibly and get out and vote. Take 10 people to the polls with you, 20. Just get out and vote. And Alice is actually getting the day off on November 5th, right? So that you can go vote. Yes. There we go. That's what I want to hear. Yes, she is now getting the day off, which is normally the 5th is like her busiest day of the month in the managing the real estate portfolio, but she gets it off this month or next. It's actually technically next month still, so that she can go cast her vote for Donald J. Trump. Actually, Alice is still undecided, so that's a little bit. If you caught yesterday's episode, you know that's an inside joke. But we got a good show coming up for you guys today. It's going to be our first interview show in a long time. I did a few back when we started in the middle, and then when I stopped the show, we obviously didn't have any more. And since I brought it back, we haven't had an interview yet. But we're bringing back Tim Sisler, a good friend of mine from Springfield. And we really want to put this dogs and cats thing to rest. Like, we want to put it to bed. You know, is it true? Did it happen? Has it happened? What the hell is going on in Springfield, Ohio? And Tim has lived in Springfield, lives in Springfield, does business in Springfield. So we're going to get his take today on what is going on in Springfield. So stick around for that. But before we get into all that, guys, I just want to do a quick reminder. Make sure to run out and pick up a copy of We the Puppets, the audience for the best illusion ever performed. It is out on Amazon. You can pick up your copy today. It would mean the world to me. It's a really good read. It's fast. You can read it in like a weekend, I promise. And I think it will open up your eyes to how all of the systems in America that we hold near and dear have been manipulated to benefit the few at the expense of many. So you guys went out in full force last Friday. You got me all the way up to number 1 in the political leadership category. Whoop, I accidentally muted my mic, and I really appreciated it. So keep it up. Keep looking for it. Keep buying it. And keep in mind, guys, the holidays are coming up, right? So keep in mind, the holidays are coming up. It could make a great stocking stuffer. It could make a good present. Like, you could... Like, Alice, you're going to get one for the mom and dad, right? Like, you're going to get a signed copy for them. Yeah. See, there you go. So Alice is going to get one. Pick one up for the holidays. You can go over to my website, justinstaten.com, and pick up an autographed copy where I'll actually sign it and make it out directly to whoever you want me to make it out to. It's a great personal effect for the holidays. Right, Alice?
It certainly is.
Certainly is. All right. So... also, if you guys are listening to this over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please take like 30 seconds to just hit pause real quick, like it, review it, give us feedback. 2 things. 1, it'll help us make the show better. And 2, it'll push it up over there on their algorithms so that more people can find the show organically. All right, Alice, what's new with you? What's going on today?
You know, a lot of the same, just doing my daily tasks. And I really enjoyed doing the podcast yesterday, so I am very happy to be back today.
Good. Did you get the nerves out?
I did get the nerves out, and I'm gonna try to stay away from saying and like and because that was my go-to yesterday. So I'm just gonna try to not do that.
It's all good. I do it all the time, and I did this the other day. I apologize, guys. I have my desk heater on, and it is. My feet are on fire. So give me 1 second so I can turn it off. There we go. I left it on the other day too, dude. And like, I got 5 minutes into the episode and my feet were literally on fire, like sweating bullets. And I'm like, I can't. And it probably sounds quieter in here now too, does it not? Like, I totally forgot it was running because so my office is like an old, I think this building was built literally 1947. And so it gets a little cold in here sometimes. Now I've redone it and it's all like brand new, but I may or may not have done a good job insulating it. I don't know, but it gets cold in here. So I got to have the desk heater going and my feet were on fire. So I apologize. I had to turn that off, but yeah. So you got all the nerves out. you're going to stop trying to say, like, I do it all the time. Like every episode, I'm
Yeah, no, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to channel my speech. I just did it. I'm going to try to channel my speech class skills from college. So
yeah.
I'm gonna channel
Yeah.
that.
And just channel your Zen. You got to find your Zen, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I think you're doing a great job. And the feedback that I've heard was she did a good job. So good job. But let's move on. Let's get our guest, Tim Sisler, in. So Tim, guys, is again a Springfield resident, Springfield, Ohio. You guys know Springfield, Ohio, where, all the, I don't know, what would you call it? I wouldn't say it was like a, what's the word? Not, like we're a bunch of bad shit's happening.
Yeah, it wasn't a controversy. It was kind of just like a hot topic because of, things that some people might have saw. So yeah, we're going to try to dive into that.
Yeah, we're going to go straight to the source. So we're going to bring Tim in, but Tim is a real estate agent / investor over there in that area. And, I've known Tim for years, solid guy, and definitely wanted to get his take on everything that's going on in Springfield and the controversy that was going on over there. So without further ado, let's bring Tim in. Tim, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Good. Just finished dinner. All right. Mm-hmm. So I just want to get right into it. All right. So you've been in Springfield for how many years now?
39.
39 years. Born and raised?
That's right. Better believe it.
Unless you're like 50, right? But you're not. Right. You're like 39, right?
So 39, yeah.
Born and raised in Springfield. So I got to ask, because I'm not sure if this is true or not, but did you have any hand in this whole cats and dogs story going like live on the airwaves, or is that like an urban myth and urban legend?
Well, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, yeah. I feel like everybody in Springfield really contributed to this. We saw some things happening and started mentioning it, but the dogs and cats thing, it's, it is what it is. It's probably not true. Nobody knows for certain, but I mean, cats and dogs, they're delicious.
So wait a second, time out. So I don't know if they are or aren't, but you're telling me that's not even the point or the part of what you just said that stood out to me. So you're telling me not even the residents of Springfield know if the dogs and cats story is even real?
No. I mean, so the dogs and cats things, there's been some videos that have come out recently with people like processing a dog or a cat, one of the two, who knows. There's some stuff that came out from other parts of Ohio of somebody carrying a goose. Everybody said, oh, they're eating the geese. But again, here's something that doesn't really matter to it, but nobody really gave a crap about those geese. Nobody cared. Like, until it became a big thing, nobody gave a shit about the goose in the park.
Right.
We had a huge overpopulation of like feral and random cats out in the streets. Wittenberg University was called Kittenberg because of the amount of stray cats. So we don't have that problem now.
Wait, so you're saying that up till now, nobody actually cared about the geese? No, in the park, which is Ferncliff Park, right there in Springfield.
No, it is
Schneider Park. Yeah. Schneider Park. So nobody cared about the geese. And I can attest to this because I lived in Springfield for several years myself. And there was a huge stray cat population in Springfield. Now, I currently do not live in Springfield, but is what you're saying
somehow?
Neither do the cats. So that was my next question. Like, has the stray cat population decreased in Springfield?
Yes, it has decreased. I don't know if more people are picking them up. I don't know if more of them are getting hit by cars. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, there are less stray cats than there were.
All right. So there could be some truth, but just because,
does not equal causation.
Yeah, there you go. Because the city manager came out and said there's no evidence that this is happening in Springfield. So is it true that there's absolutely no evidence that dogs and cats were being eaten in Springfield? No evidence.
That is not true at all. There is potential evidence. There's things online. I haven't done the research because it's one of those things like the cats and dogs thing. It hardly registers with me. Most people here in Springfield, they don't give a shit about the cats and the dogs and the geese that are supposedly being eaten. What they care about is the massive influx of people who just showed up to our doorstep. And yes, they're Haitian immigrants, but it doesn't matter where they came from. If it's 20,000 people from a different culture that show up, you're going to have some issues.
Right. So, and I guess all joking aside, I mean, that is the bigger issue for Springfield residents, right? Is you had, a population of 50, 60,000 people. And then overnight you've increased it by, a third. So 30% increase, 20 some thousand Haitians show up. So the real issue is, what are you guys seeing is a real issue in Springfield with this influx?
Well, so one thing is what we have stopped seeing. So we were seeing where people were talking about how they were expecting to have 30,000 more immigrants coming to Springfield, which we were already kind of getting crowded, and they were going to say, hey, we were actually just going to double your population out of nowhere. You're only rated for 70,000 people, and we're going to make you have 100. That's not a great idea. But now the city manager and the mayor and everybody, they're not talking about that anymore.
They're not talking about it at all?
Not really, no. You have to have a special organization put on like city council meetings now. They're just really not, they don't really happen. So
wait a minute. So because I think everybody has seen the videos of the town city hall meetings, right? Yeah. Like where tons of residents were showing up. So now you're saying like the city has created
a problem. Yeah, it's become a theatrical thing. I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes it's eventually going to become a waste of time. It's all going to be people chasing clout, just trying to get fame, and wasting time. So I can't blame them for that. But there are major issues here in Springfield that have to be addressed.
Yeah. So, are you saying that the city council is like making it more difficult for the citizens to address the city council over the immigration issue?
Yeah. From what I understand, I mean, I've never addressed the city council. I have no interest in doing so. I have better things to do with my time, like the podcast.
Gaia. So I guess that leads me to my next question then is what is the sentiment right now with Springfield? And I know you can't speak for everybody, right? But I just know you're somebody that's in the community. I know you're out there, working, selling houses, doing your thing. You come in contact with a lot of people throughout your day. And again, I know you can't speak for other residents right now of Springfield, but what is their sentiment right now on the local leaders and how well they've handled this?
Well, I mean,
issue?
I can speak. I know I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for a lot because of the job I do. I mean, I'm out there talking to people every day. And what we're seeing kind of like you see everywhere, a polarization. You have people who are saying, no, they're all bad. Get them all out. They're not good people. Which is, they couldn't be further from the truth. I got stuck in the snow last year and guess who pushed me out? It was a group of Haitian dudes. I appreciate them. But then you also have people who are saying, they've done nothing but bring prosperity to Springfield. Again, that's not true. You have bad apples in every bunch, So again, it's polarization is what we're seeing. That's the main thing. I mean, you have people who are getting energy at the same time. It's terrible. So you can't even make jokes now anymore without being called, racist, whatever you want to be called. So it's crazy.
Right. So it sounds like what you're saying is like the sentiment is that most people don't actually have a problem with the Haitians. That really the problem is that the city or the state or the government just really had no plan on how to integrate 20,000 more people into the community. So do you think that is the big gripe now?
And I'm also saying that generally there's not a lot of municipalities that are going to have a plan for that. Who plans to have 20,000 people show up in such a short amount of time? Who don't speak the language, who struggle to understand culture that's here.
Yeah, so I would actually argue otherwise. And I've had this conversation with other people. It's like, who should have the foresight of 20,000 people show up? Well, I can say that, and I made this comment with another person. I said, birds of the same feather flock together, right? So, and we've seen this all throughout migration patterns throughout the United States, throughout history, right? Is wherever one goes, more will follow. So, for example, in Springfield, you had a few Haitians show up several years ago, right? And then in 2021, when the Biden administration came out and, killed a bunch of executive orders that the Trump administration had in place, and a lot of those were due to immigration. And then they stamped, the ability for these guys to get a refugee status. You could foresee there possibly being an influx in immigrations. I mean, it was all over the news, right? An influx of immigrants coming into the country.
It was rapid.
Oh, I understand
it was
very
that. Rapid. So as much as you want to plan it out, you're going to struggle. Especially so Rob had just taken the position as the mayor.
Right, but you're referencing Rob Rue, who's now the current mayor of Springfield, Ohio. For those of you that don't know, Tim and I, we've known each other for a while, so it's almost like a conversation back and forth here. But yeah, so you're referencing Rob Rue, who's the current mayor of Springfield, and yes, Rob was a new mayor, but he was not a new member of city council, right? And so, and again, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm only because I don't live in Springfield anymore, and I feel for what's going on over there and the citizens there, and try not to make light of the situation with the dogs and the cats thing. I think that whole story was overblown, and I think it was just more fodder for the media to go after Donald Trump. Honestly,
well, and that's the problem. That was the only thing they focused on. Nobody talked about how everything is being bogged down and slowed down by the amount of people we have now. Because of this ball being dropped so poorly. I mean, they did such a bad job with this. I mean, we have the rocking horse centers overcrowded. The school systems are overcrowded. It's Walmart's crazy. We're seeing more wrecks. So
now, when you say they, who, if you're not referencing the city council or the local leadership, who are you referencing when you say they?
When did I say they?
You just said they, in the sense that because we were talking about how Trump, the rhetoric from Trump, kind of the media, putting it out there. And then you were like,
I'm saying the media.
You're saying the media. Okay.
So they kind of latched on to this. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Yeah.
And they rode that train all the way to the end. But that's not the issue, is the thing. So that's not the issue that Springfield has. Now, some people say that the only problem in Springfield is racism. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This is Springfield, Ohio. Like we have so many problems that we really have to focus on. This is the last thing we need to do. But I'm glad that this was brought to the forefront, because now we're seeing things change. Things are going a different direction. We've had a few real estate contracts that have been terminated. Once all this stuff got out, people don't want to buy houses.
Yeah. So have you seen any fallout, like people not moving to Springfield, not wanting to move to Springfield, businesses not wanting to be in Springfield?
Specifically, there's some investors from Florida. They're Haitian investors. They were buying up a lot of property here in Springfield, and they no longer are interested. Now they weren't buying the luxury suites. They were buying the houses that needed rehab. They were buying up a lot of houses that were run down, old, dusty, crusty, busted ones. The ones that I love,
Yeah.
But they were buying those. They're not really that interested. They don't want to buy them now.
So do you think because I've heard both things. One, I heard that the citizens of the community were upset that, this influx in Haitian migrants were taking housing that local citizens needed. But it sounds like you're kind of saying the flip side of that, though, is you had investors coming in and buying up things that were dilapidated, fixing them up.
People lived in those houses,
making them nice.
Well, people lived in those houses. They were living to the best of their means. I mean, not everybody can afford, to have, I guess, a nice looking house with the nice stuff in it. But they had a roof over their head. That's what really mattered. They were able to go home. But now a lot of these people are living, on the streets in the bush.
Right.
We have a homeless population in Snyder Park now, which, by the way, if anybody's watching this, if you want to donate like sleeping bags, tents, and tarps are crazy. But the thing is, these people need to protect themselves from the water that's coming up and getting them wet on the ground. So if you're sleeping on the ground, you're sleeping in water. You need tarps.
So are you saying that now people, due to this, the homelessness has increased due to the influx of Haitian migrants in Springfield?
But that's been a steady increase. We've been seeing that. I mean, last year we gave out a bunch of shoes to people. We do our best to try to help out, but there's only so much you can do. But yeah, we're seeing people who were living on the edge where they, like I said, they couldn't really afford much, but they had a roof over their head. Well, now they can't afford much and they don't have a roof over their head.
And what is the local leadership there doing to help with the homeless thing?
Well, we're building car washes and stuff.
I saw that.
Yeah.
The important stuff. Let's put up a fourth car wash that will fail in 2 years.
On the other side of Bechtel.
Yeah,
which is exactly what we needed. So that's the backbone of our economy.
It's car washes.
Yeah.
And so for those of you that don't know the Tim sarcasm, so in Springfield, there's a car wash on every corner, and it seems like they build a new one every 2 or 3 years, and then 2 or 3 years later it fails or nobody uses anymore. And I noticed that they're building a new one down there. Yep. Bechtel, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Springfield area, is like the main drag where all the restaurants, kind of all the activities other than what goes on downtown, that's where it is. So you're basically saying that the local leadership is not doing a whole lot to address the increase in homelessness. So you've had an increase in Haitian migration, which again was not the citizens of Springfield's fault. It wasn't even the leadership of Springfield and Clark County's fault, because they didn't say, "Hey, we're a sanctuary city, everybody come here." But you've had that now. It wasn't really anybody's fault, but the communities had to deal with it. Now you're saying that there's an increase. There was an increase in accidents, car accidents, all these things. And now you're saying there's an increase in homelessness due to this Haitian migration. And the state and local leaders are doing nothing to address it. Like they're not talking about it locally, or like,
I mean, I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know what they are and what they're not doing. I mean, a lot of the stuff, so they do things like spend $568,000 to repair 400 feet of blacktop. They do stuff like that. So it's hard to have faith in what they're doing, especially when you see like these people are living in Snyder Park. They have multiple groups down there and nothing's being done. As a matter of fact, there's one group that you're not allowed to have any contact with because these people are like kind of crazy. They'll hurt you. All that's being done is we're being warned, like, hey, don't try to contact these guys. Don't try to give them anything. Don't try to get near these guys because they'll hurt you. That's the solution. Just to let us know that they're dangerous.
Wow. Why are we not hearing about that? So I think that goes back to your point, like the whole dogs and they're eating the dogs and the cats distraction literally was like almost a smoke shield to cover up the real issues that are happening. And so I go back to my question I asked you earlier, what is the temperature of the citizens? Are they ready to throw out the local leaders? Are they good? Or do they not blame the local leaders? Like what do they blame, the state leadership, or do they blame the federal government at all? Or are they just kind of like, it happened and we just got to deal with it now?
Well, yeah. So what happened is, and I'm sure that if you're on one side says it's okay to have difference of opinions. The other side says if you have a difference of opinion, we will end your career. We'll stop your ability to provide food for your family. So the side that was big, rough, and rowdy, talking about how there's a problem here in Springfield. Well, they've now been neutered. They're people get threats. People say, oh, well, if you say this, if you talk about this, you are one of the ists and you're committing isms. So, yeah, people are worried for their jobs. They're worried for their, I guess, not necessarily popularity, but they're worried about their public image. So nobody's really talking about it too much anymore. They kind of toned it down.
So you're quite literally saying that there's even been like retribution. I can't even say the word right. Retribution for people speaking up and out about the issue that
socially. So basically, you'll get the social justice warriors and people go online, and if you make a comment, they'll make comments and they'll say, hey, listen, I'll have to report that you're a racist or something to your employer.
Really?
I'm going to come for your job. Yeah.
Wow. Like I thought this was still America where you could actually say what you wanted to say and not, who cares?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, so that's the thing. So in America, we have freedoms and liberties, and I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I think that anytime you dogpile somebody and try to take someone's job, I think that's just totally messed up. But we do have the freedom of speech. But with that freedom, you have to accept the consequences. So currently in this climate, the consequence of speaking the truth is that your job is at risk.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I'm just saying, it's so funny how and of course we all know the news cycle with the modern day media travels at the speed of light, right? So things are in the news and they're out of the news and it's nobody cares anymore. And I think, Springfield just kind of got drugged through the news and to be totally fair, both sides use Springfield, kind of drug it through the mud. More importantly, it's citizens, right? Drug its citizens through the mud. And now, you've got, and I don't know, I could be wrong, but you've got politicians who are doing more to save face and make it look like they're doing a good job, sounds like locally, when there's still tons of issues going on that are now just being glazed over because everybody's like, all right, let's just stop talking about the 800-pound gorilla in the room and just act like it's all okay. And we're all just going to not discuss it publicly anymore. And my question is what good does that do for the citizens of Springfield?
Well, it does no good, really. But the thing is, because of this, we got a lot of publicity. We had a lot of strange people walking around, recording everybody, trying to interview people, trying to get candid takes on things. We had a lot of people talking about the businesses here in town. Oh, hey, you got to try this thing. It was nice. Some of the things were nice, but it was really strange having people in town who were straight up lying about our city, lying and saying, oh, Donald Trump and JD Vance are the only people talking about cats and dogs in Springfield. When, as a matter of fact, we've been talking about this stuff for, I don't know, a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like before JD Vance said anything about that, there was this guy named Professor Nez. I shared the post because he made a video on it and it had 300 and some thousand views on it. And it was about how in Springfield, Ohio, people were eating cats and dogs. And that was before the debate when this was all mentioned. Yeah. So for people to say, hey, Donald Trump and JD Vance did this, that's all wrong. And those were the people who were here saying Donald Trump, JD Vance bad. Those people were here trying to say Springfield is a great place and there's nothing wrong with Springfield. We've never been here before, but everybody here loves it.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair,
that was super weird to have those people here.
Yeah.
Especially since they have no idea what's going on. They don't see it, but then we have to put up with their shit.
Yeah. I'm somewhat glad I missed it, but I'm to be fair, Springfield is a great place. It is an amazing city. It's one of the hidden gems, I believe. Now, I'm not saying is Springfield doesn't have its issues and hasn't always had its issues, because it has. It had issues 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, had issues when I lived there for a few years. It's got issues today, obviously major issues today. But Springfield is an amazing city, and it has the potential to be one of the best cities in the state of Ohio. But you know what I never underestimate? I've never underestimated Springfield's leadership to fuck it up. I've never underestimated that, because it always seems like no matter what, whoever's in leadership in that community always finds a way to screw it up. It's like they always put the cart before the horse. It's like the tail wagging the dog. And I don't understand why, because they've got such a, and it's not everybody. I want to be clear. And if any of you listening out there want to know who I'm specifically talking to, feel free to message me offline but I'm not going to name drop anybody, because it's not everybody. There are some really good leaders in that community who have worked tirelessly, and they know who they are to get that city turned around and to make it great. Just to see some people that want to win a popularity contest come in and screw it up. And but I've never underestimated their ability to screw up a good thing, and it seems like that keeps being the pattern over and over again. I mean, I don't know, Tim, you tell me if you think I'm way off on that.
You're not way off. No, I think the problem is that we have evolutions here in Springfield. I mean, we had in my lifetime, I remember when Bechtel Avenue was like a Kmart or like a Big Bear, and then nothing. And then we had the mall, and out at the mall, that's where everything was happening. Upper
Right.
Valley.
Well, and that was another screw up, right? Back in the day. And a lot of people don't know that story about how the mall ended up not in Springfield City, but over on the other side of the highway.
German Township, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, the mall, that's where everything was like going on. Everybody was there. Everybody was hanging out there. We had like Hills. We had a whole bunch of industry out there. But then we built, and that, with that being out there, that took away from downtown Springfield. So then we built Bechtel. We built all the businesses along Bechtel. We got the Walmart. Then it turned into the Walmart Supercenter. That took all the business from Upper Valley. And now we're putting money in and reinvesting into downtown Springfield, making it a truly beautiful, magnificent place. I mean, I don't know if you've been there lately. It is gorgeous.
I have. I drove through there last week, and it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Wait until they get the lights up. It's going to be gorgeous.
Oh, dude, Christmas time in Springfield is a magnificent. They got the skating rink, all the lights up. I will say that is something that Springfield never gets wrong, is decorating for the holidays. Like, it is beautiful down there.
So what I'm trying to say is when the leadership, they're always trying to manage a whole new beast. You know, so we get new leadership and they're trying to manage this whole new thing. I know it's called Springfield, but now back to that where we had let's see, the Frisch's Big Boy just shut down. Oh, Charlie's shut down on Bechtel. We had the pancake, what is it? The IHOP? Should have been a Waffle House.
IHOP, you need a Waffle House. Yeah.
That's the one thing we don't have. So I think if we can allow Springfield to build 3 or 4 more car washes, we should get one more, or at least one Waffle House.
Yeah, but you guys need one Waffle House for every 3 car washes that you decide to build there in Springfield.
I think that's the equation. That's
the golden ratio right there, dude.
Bingo. So, but yeah, I just feel like when they get in, they're trying to tackle a whole new set of issues. So when they tend to fuck up. You're not wrong. So
then let me ask you this, point blank, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And for those of you listening to the podcast, you'll never know Tim's answer unless you come find the video. You can find it over on YouTube or Rumble. But general impression, thumbs up, thumbs down. How well has the leadership of Springfield City and Clark County done with the Haitian migration crisis? Thumbs up, thumbs down. That's all you got to do. All right. He made his vote, guys. So if you want to see it, go over to YouTube, go to Rumble. You'll know how Tim voted. Now, here's the $1 million question, because I kind of want to move on and wrap this up so that we're not going, because our first episode, Alice and I together went an hour and 30 minutes. So we're going to try to prevent that from happening, even though we love talking to you. $1 million question, Tim. Who you going for November 5th for the president? Presidente.
I won't be voting November 5th.
You're going to early vote.
I already voted sucker for Donald Trump.
Oh, damn. We got an early voter for DJT. So you went for Donald Trump, huh?
I did, yeah. I think that the policies he has and the results of his last presidency, I mean, it was great. He really led us to prosperity.
Yeah.
But since then, we've kind of, well, like you said, leaders have a really good tendency to fuck shit up bad.
Some.
And I'm telling you,
I think some, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we had a vegetable running the country, and everyone was saying, "No, he's brilliant." And if you don't believe so, F
sharp.
you.
Yeah,
know?
So sharp. So sharp.
But
so
yeah,
sharp he can't walk upstairs or ride a bike.
You know, I became a Trump supporter a long time ago when they did that thing and they said Donald Trump aggressively mocked a handicapped dude. You know, my brother's handicapped, and I was like, dude, that's super whack. Like, why would you? I pretty much hate anybody who would do that, you know. And then I researched it, looked into it, and I was like, wait, he's saying the motions he did, that was him saying the guy was scared. He was like a weak guy. The guy was, you know. Yeah.
When you saw more than a 30-second minute long clip. Yeah. And got the full context of it.
And then I had Arthur Solomon. He said, "Hey, I'm going to this Trump rally. Do you want to go?" I said, "You know what? I'll go check it out." So I went to that Trump rally where Donald Trump said the bloodbath thing.
Oh, you were there.
I was there.
Oh.
I heard the full context. And then I watched what the media said. And I was like, oh my God, how could you ever believe anything these people are saying? They're selling everything. You know, they're they're not telling you the full truth about anything. You need to have inspections on everything that the media says.
Yes. Like they're total propaganda rag anymore. Like, I mean, they're so damn communist and socialist. It's stupid. Like the whole mainstream media, they all have a narrative they're trying to push. The whole bloodbath comment, the fine people on both sides comment that they took, showed you like a 10-second clip and we're like, no, Trump's racist. And that is still the narrative today. And that's crazy to me.
I feel like you remember on Home Alone 2 when Kevin has the record thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is Kevin's dad.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to try to do something like that for Donald Trump. Like they're going to try to just make the silliest shit and try to say, Trump said it.
Well, no. So what they're doing, they're in a tailspin right now because the polls are not in Harris's favor. And right now the tailspin is like fear, more fear. Here's more fear. Oh, wait. Yep. Let's throw on some more fear. Fear. That is the whole strategy of the Democrats, the media, because all they're talking about right now, even in his, campaign event he had at Madison Square Garden last night or the night before, is that's all they talked about was Trump's a racist. Trump is Hitler. He's like Mussolini. He's a fascist. Right. He's all, and dude, it is a fever pitch and it is nonstop.
We have no idea why people are shooting at him.
Right.
We have no clue. Yeah. Why, I mean, all we did is say that he's Hitler. He's gonna, kill every woman.
A threat to democracy.
America. He's a threat to democracy, and he's gonna put everybody in chains. Why would anybody shoot him? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Because it's such an easy thing to sell, right? Because there isn't my belief on all of this is most Americans are good people, right? Most Americans will give you the shirt off their back. Most Americans will help you. Most Americans have a heart, right? And they want to do good by others, right? They want a society where we get along. Now, there are some that don't, and we can all agree on that too. But I think that's the fringe of America. And so when you're selling to somebody, hate, and not that, hey, hate this guy, right? Because if you notice, the media always leaves that part out. They're not telling you hate Donald Trump. They're telling you he's Hitler. They're giving you this imagery of something you will naturally hate because you're good and you want to hate, right? You want to hate hatefulness. So, he's Hitler, he's Mussolini, he's going to be a dictator. He's going to use the military to round up all of his opponents. Oh, he's going to do all these crazy things. They compared his campaign thing at Madison Square Gardens to a fucking Nazi rally. Yeah. Like, how insane are these people? And it is wild. Yeah. And so all they're really doing is it's mental manipulation, right? Like the media is like being in a bad relationship with a narcissistic partner, right? Who like constantly browbeats you and is a narcissist and gaslights you all the time. And then you end up becoming the narcissistic asshole too, to your whole friend circle because you've been with a narcissist for so long, for so many years, right? That gaslights you and it's all about them and they just manipulate your mind. And it is a form of mental abuse. And that is
I think we talked about that the other day about how
we probably did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You're 100% accurate on that. I mean, they're really gaslighting everybody. They're telling everybody that the sky is red and Donald Trump's going to kill everyone.
Well,
they're saying Donald Trump's going to lead us to war. Like
he's the only one that's kept us out of war.
Holy shit.
I mean, how soon we forget there were no conflicts going on in Ukraine. There were no major peace accord in the Middle East. We talked about that on yesterday's episode. But it's just crazy to me.
So, like another reason so we see that the Democratic campaign is not a positivity campaign. It's not positive. They're only voting against something because they have no idea what they're voting for if they mark down Kamala Harris as their candidate. They have no idea what they're voting for. They're just voting against Donald Trump.
Right. And what a sad.
Now, Kamala Harris has said, here's what I want to do. I want to kill all the babies and I want to spend all the money. Money is infinite and we can afford to give everybody all this money for free.
Well, but you know what she should say, Tim?
And we're going to fund both sides of both wars.
You know what she should say, though? Because the truth of it is I want to spend all of your money, Alice's money, my money, because that's where the government, they either tax you or they create more money and sell bonds and treasury notes. But the IOU has your name on it. As the American citizen, that's what people don't understand. It's like the government borrowing money, they don't borrow it because they produce a good or service, right? They borrow it because they have the ability to tax you.
Right.
So your name goes on the IOU. So the 36 trillion in debt that just hit $1 trillion of interest payments for the first time ever in American history, your names are on that IOU. So it's we want to spend your money.
I sent you a text message a long time ago, and I said, do you know how long it would take us to pay off that debt if every citizen chipped in $100?
What was it?
I cannot remember. It was some ungodly amount of years. It was like generations.
Well, if anybody knows, comment down in the comment section. If you know how long it would take for everybody to chip in and pay down that 36 trillion plus $1 trillion a year in debt service payments, let us know down in the comments.
Yeah.
So you're voting for Donald Trump. You got a pulse. Your boots on the ground over there in Springfield. Which way do you think Springfield's going in this election? You think Springfield's for DJT or are they for?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because most of the people from Springfield, I'm saying from, who are leaning, who are speaking up and saying, I'm from Springfield. That's my city. I was born and raised there, and I know that people aren't eating cats, and I'm here, and I'm telling you right now, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Those aren't real people from Springfield,
but the people from Springfield are like, holy shit, we're fed up with all of this, and we're definitely going to go Trump for sure. I guarantee you.
So you think Springfield's going Trump?
Plus, a lot of people in Springfield are actually seeing a lot of gains in their lives. People here in Springfield, they're realizing that our real estate here in Springfield is actually still pretty dirt cheap, and it's a great investment no matter what. So there's a lot of people who are seeing prosperity, and they're knowing that if they want to continue that path of prosperity, they've got to get Donald Trump back in there.
Yeah, I was actually trying to buy a house in Springfield last week. They didn't take my offer, but it's all right. We'll move on.
Well, that's because you offered him a thing of spaghetti from Fazoli's, probably.
Yeah, two breadsticks. Two breadsticks. Got to buy low, buddy. Buy low. Tim knows because he's written a few of those offers, and he's always like, dude, can't you offer a little bit more? I'm like, no, come give me the deal, dude, at peanuts. I need it. Pennies on the dollars, Tim. Pennies on the dollars.
Some of them work out.
Some of them work, some of them don't. But yeah, it's all good. But
that's the name of the game.
That's the name of the real estate game. Alice has been having microphone technical difficulties this entire episode. So if you guys, haven't heard Alice's voice, no, I had to put her in the queue there, and she figured out that, and I sent her a message saying, "Hey, dude, your mic is getting a ton of feedback." And so Alice, unmute your mic and see if it's actually working now.
Okay.
Oh my God, it sounds amazing. It sounds so good. So Alice, that was a lot. And I'm sorry I had to throw you in the queue. You were in podcast prison there. But what say you? What are any questions you have for Tim?
Yeah, no, I am happy to take a back seat this episode and kind of just let you guys have, an authentic conversation about it. So I am super glad that was able to happen. Despite the issues with my
sorry, I had to put you in podcast prison. I was like, man, you could just hear it feeding back. And I'm like, and every time I put you in the queue, it went away. So I was like, it's definitely her microphone.
I mean, I'm glad it was muted. It made it really easy for me to mansplain.
Oh, and for those of people that don't understand Tim's humor, he's kidding. So calm down before you lose your freaking mind.
No,
what is it? No, Tim, but seriously, what is it with liberals and not having a sense of freaking humor anymore?
I don't know, man. If you're living a life where you don't want to laugh, why? Why even live?
Did you see how everybody was up in arms over what's his name, Tony Hitchcliff? That he opened at Madison Square Gardens and he said there's an island of trash floating in the ocean and it's called Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's funny because
it's comedy, Rico, dude.
Currently, it is comedy, but that comedy is funny when it's kind of
has an element of truth. Yes.
Yeah. So because Puerto Rico is it's been reported on that it's just overrun with trash that they cannot take care of.
I was just in Puerto Rico last October, and I'll be on Puerto Rico.
How much trash did you contribute? Because I know you like to drive around, throw stuff out your window.
Oh, I'd never throw stuff out my window, but maybe a couple things. No,
I'm just kidding, guys. He doesn't do that. He's not a serial polluter.
No, I am not a serial. I actually love the environment, but that's I can love the environment and not be a liberal nut job at the same time. I love granola, but I don't need to be a liberal nut job. I love the universe, but I don't need, it's like I want clean air, clean water, but I also want energy independence. Like I don't want to buy our shit from people who want to chop our heads off and don't support the way some of the people in our country, American citizens, choose to live their lives. And, so I don't want to buy energy from them. I want to buy it. I want to make it and produce it here. I want to put Americans to work. But I also think we can do it and protect the environment all at the same time. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. And for whatever reason, I think liberals just can't. And it's not all liberals. I say liberals, and I shouldn't just apply that broad-based label because it's not fair. Because liberals back in my day were actually the rebels, the cool kids, the ones that were like, screw the man.
Dude, it was me. I was that. I was all about free speech. I was all about, I still am all about these freedoms.
Yeah, you were that kid with the 9 Inch Nails t-shirt, weren't you?
Metallica.
Yeah. Like, screw the man. Everybody can speak however they want to talk. F you. Like, what happened? Now they're a bunch of
I was against the wars because when I was getting into politics, it was the Iraq War. I had friends who went over there. I had friends who served over there. I was not for the war. I'm like, dude, let's get out of there. This is getting us nothing, getting us nowhere. I was against war, but I was, at that point, George Bush was the Republican candidate who was for the war. So right. I was, dude, Democrats are where it's at. They don't want this war. I'm going to vote for John Kerry,
Dude, and I'll admit that I fell for the George Bush thing. And I was like all patriotic and like, I'm going to go enlist and I'm going to go serve in these wars. And then experiencing it, it's like war is horrible. Like war is like the worst possible thing that like you can send young men and women to do. War is the one thing, and you can see it if you watch what's going on in the Middle East and Ukraine right now. War is the one element of society and life where it will bring out the absolute worst in human beings. And nobody wants to witness that. It like changes every perspective you have on society and humans and humankind. War only brings out the worst in human beings. It never brings out the best. And only in the most, grave of situations like World War II and Nazi Germany should we ever propel ourselves or push for war. Like if there is a dictator that's trying to take over the world, okay, that's one thing. But to constantly be pushing for war just so you can get some more stocks and make money is, I think, absolutely absurd. So even my perspective has changed on that over the years.
So my perspective is pretty much stayed the same on war. It's just gotten deeper against it because now the way I'm looking at it is with war, the people who take us to war and get us into wars, they're not the people who fight the war.
And they're typically not the ones that send their kids to fight.
That's what I'm saying. So they're the ones who don't really have a leg in the race. Right. They're just the ones saying, hey, go die for me. Go die for my words that I'm saying that I'm going to cause a war with.
Go die for my stakeholders that fund my campaign.
Yeah. Well, we have nuclear capabilities now, like across the globe, which one of those nukes, man, kills so many innocent people. Like I think life is precious, Yeah. So I'm not for war, and that's one of the reasons I'm voting for Donald Trump, because what he's saying is, I just want the people to stop dying.
Right. Well, and to be fair, Donald Trump.
I want people to stop dying. And his track record is that there are no fucking wars.
Well, and Donald Trump was very, very outspoken about the war in Iraq and even the long-term, stay in Afghanistan. He was very outspoken against it from the beginning. And he's
another thing another thing that they did was that withdraw from Afghanistan. Like that was we had lives. That just kind of shows you how insignificant our soldiers were to our current leadership. They said we have to get this photo op, so we have to have you guys everything.
And what a bad photo op it ended up being.
Some of you guys are going to lose your lives. We're going to lose tons and tons of heavy machinery and military equipment, but we have to get this picture of us pulling out of Afghanistan before 9/11. We got to do it. That's all your life means to me.
Well, and then the optics of it were so bad. The picture that they got from it was people hanging off C-17s as they're trying to take off from the runway. It was such bad optics.
Well, also there's people over there who were, I don't want to say in service, but they were helping us. They were helping American soldiers. They have a name like Junies or something like that.
Yeah, all of our local advisors, like we left quite literally
got left high and
hundreds
dry. They said,
behind.
Thanks for all the help. Later, sucker.
Yeah. Well, it was horrible. And I agree. War is a horrible thing. I think we should do everything we can to stay out of it. Right. We don't need to, my advice to the industrial war complex is come up with some trinkets that you can sell when there isn't a serious war to fight, because we're tired of funding you. And I'm tired of watching you fund campaigns and super PACs so that, you can just keep, because it's either we're in the war or we're funding somebody else's war. And it's all to keep the industrial war complex afloat. And that is not capitalism, folks. That is what we call crony capitalism, and it needs to stop. So, Tim, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm going to kind of wrap it up there, but I have to be fair. I have to at least try to be fair here, because Alice would want me to be fair, right? So, you told me that you're voting for Donald Trump. You told me why. Why are you not voting for Kamala Harris? Just quick, concise. Why are you not voting for her?
Well, I'll be as quick as Kamala Harris is, if that's okay.
Did you grow up in the middle class?
So I grew up in a middle class family, and I think there's a significance to that. And just like the significance of my middle class family, it's significant to understand that tomorrow is tomorrow. But tomorrow was today. And that's significant. That's
deep. That's really deep, and I appreciate it. Yeah, so that was very Kamala-esque. Yeah, very. And I genuinely think that the American people are 100% ready to be unburdened by what has been.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Well, hey, Tim, thanks.
I also just think that she's the fakest.
Dude. Like,
crazy fakest person ever. But again, we're in for 51 minutes right now. So
yeah, we could go down that rabbit hole. Yeah. So I try to keep it to 35, 45, but it was just good talking to you. We got on some good topics. I wanted to keep it rolling. Appreciate you being here, man. Stick around. I'll talk to you here in just a minute after the show, but let's wrap it up. Alice, do you got any parting comments for the people?
I just want to say I'm sorry my microphone was being a little wonky today. But I really did like the last question that you asked just now. Like, why are you not voting for Kamala?
Did you pick up on Tim's response, like the sarcasm? Like, that is a total typical Kamala Harris response.
Yeah. No, and I like his comment as well, where he said, sorry, I'll keep this quick, but I like his comment as well, where he said she thinks that she's fake. And I know we touched on that a little bit about how, like, I just don't think her marketing is super authentic to what her message is.
Yeah.
And I think that he really did a good job with explaining that.
Yeah, it's like the pandering, like you were talking about in the last episode, pandering to Gen X. Like, yeah, the social media marketing is important, but you're not really staying on point, and your platform is kind of missing the mark on the message that you should be sharing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming back for another episode of In the Middle. And as always, make sure that if you haven't done so, go out and pick up a copy of my new book, We the Puppets, the audience for the best illusion ever performed. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please make sure to leave a rating and review. Tell me how Alice is doing with her new job, so we can decide whether or not to keep her around or get rid of her. I know I'm going to get hate for that comment because I've already gotten compliments about you being on the show. So as always, guys, stay